Okay, guys, the story starts with me walking through Manhattan, holding a latte and trying not to trip over tourists who seem to have lined up specifically to test my patience. And then he appeared, Jake. He's standing by the coffee shop. All look at me, the world stopped for me, and right away. Hey, do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk by again? I honestly froze. For a second, I thought, okay, cliché, but let's see what happens next. Hey, I say, raising an eyebrow. Do you usually hit on all girls like that? He takes a step closer, exactly red light. Sometimes, he says, all confidence on his face as if I should be thrilled. In my head, I'm already counting, one mistake after another. Too direct, too cocky, trying too hard. All right, Jake, show me what you can really surprise me with, I say. He pulls out his phone and shows a meme. I almost giggled. Is this funny? I ask cautiously. He smiles as if I said something incredibly smart. In my head, immediately, phrases plus memes equals success. Yeah, right. I thought it's viral, he justifies. I let out a small sigh. Seriously, guys, memes on the first meeting, that's already potential fail level. Okay, I say, viral is one thing. What else can you do? He tries to talk about himself, every phrase sounding like, look how cool I am. About sports, work, his car. I nod, smile, but in my head, I'm already noting the mistakes. Too much about himself. Too few questions for me. Too confident, as if I should be impressed. So, he says, a bit embarrassed, do you like adventures? I almost laugh. Buddy, is that all you came up with? I do, I say. But I like it even more when a guy can say something besides 3 cliché lines. He winces. A small victory for me. Mistake 2, cliché questions don't work. Well, I can be creative. He tries to save the situation. Good, I say. Show me what creative means. He pulls out his phone again. This time, another meme. I laugh quietly, and that's when I realize almost all guys make the same mistakes. Confidence plus cliché phrases plus memes equals success. In reality, no. I decide to play along, see how far he can go. And you know what? It's really fun. Watching someone try to be cool while you're observing, fun like a TV show. To be continued. We head to a small park near the coffee shop. He's still trying to joke. Each joke is a bit worse than the last. He says something like, you know, I'm sure we have a lot in common. I nod. Inside, I'm thinking, good job, Jake. You just said a phrase that's exactly super cliché. He pulls out his phone again and tries to show a cat meme. Jake, I say calmly, are you sure memes are the way to impress a girl on a first date? He winces. Well, it's viral. I sigh, in my head again, phrases plus memes equals success. We sit on a bench. He tries to talk about his job. Every word sounds like a presentation. I nod, smile, mentally jotting down all the typical mistakes. Too direct. Too confident. Trying too hard. Too many memes. I'm thinking, guys, if someone saw this spectacle from the side, it would be the comedy of the year. Okay, I say, what about your hobbies? He starts talking about sports and console games. Every phrase is an attempt to prove he's cool. In my head, I'm already making notes for a guy's mistake handbook. Step closer equals red light, phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals instant loss. We sit on the bench, Jake trying to be funny, but every step turns into comedy. He pulls out his phone again. This time, a dog meme. Do you watch a lot of memes? I ask, trying to stay polite. He pauses, thinks, and proudly answers. Yeah, memes are my strong suit. In my head, I'm already mentally noting, phrases plus memes equals success. Yeah, right. Interesting, I say with a smile. What about real skills? He blinks, really blinks, as if I said something incomprehensible. Skills, he clarifies. I can be creative. I raise an eyebrow. In my head, creative equals memes. Great, I say. Then show me. He opens his phone again. I laugh quietly. Seriously, Jake, your creative approach equals memes. I realize one thing. Almost all guys make the same mistakes. Confidence plus cliché phrases plus memes equals success. In reality, total fail. We walk further through the park, and he's trying to be witty. Each joke is a bit worse than the previous one. He says, "You know, I'm sure we'd have a great time together." I nod, in my head. Exactly cliché phrase. He takes a step closer equals red light. I smile again. Inside, thinking, well, let's see how far you'll go. What about your favorite movies? He asks, hoping to hook me. I like movies where characters do more than talk. I reply, slightly ironic. And you? He starts talking about superhero movies. Every phrase sounds like an ad. Look how cultured and interesting I am. I nod, smile, and in my head, I'm already keeping a mistake diary. So, I say, tell me honestly, Jake, do you really think memes on a first date work? He blushes. Well, they're viral. In my head, I'm noting again. Phrases plus memes equals success. No, buddy, no. Good, I say. What about compliments? He starts talking about how girls love his smile. I almost fall over laughing. Exactly cocky guy. Listen, I say. I appreciate compliments, but if you think that compensates for cliché phrases and memes, then no. He pauses. I see he's really thinking. Instant doubt. A small victory for me. We continue walking through the park, and he tries to be funny again. Each attempt is almost tragicomedy. I conclude, almost all guys make the same mistakes. Step closer equals red light, phrases plus memes equals success, too cocky guy equals loss. He decides to switch to talking about food. Seriously, Jake, food is your last chance. I love pizza, he says, as if that will save the situation. I nod, in my head. Equals nothing saves it. Do you like pizza? He asks, hoping I'll say yes. I do, I say, but I appreciate more when a guy can say something meaningful. He winces. I smile. Small victory number 2. Good, he says. Then he pauses again, show you something interesting. I think, interesting equals memes, Jake. And that's when I realize, observing this is really fun. Watching someone try to be cool while you analyze every move, almost like a real-time TV show. We sit on the bench again. He pulls out his phone and tries to show another meme. I laugh quietly, and that's the moment I decide, let him continue. Let's see how far he can go while I keep a mistake diary. Step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. Cliché questions equals boredom. Compliments instead of content equals 0. Jake keeps joking, but I'm already almost completely sure this will be one of the funniest stories of the month. His hands. Maybe we can go for a walk, he asks. I nod, in my head. Step forward equals another mistake, because it almost always means the guy thinks, I'm cool, you have to agree. We walk along the sidewalk, and he tries to start a conversation about travel. Have you ever been to Europe? He asks. I smile, because I know a cliché list is coming. Yes, I reply, but I like observing people on the streets the most. A small provocation to see how he'll react. He blinks, then tries to insert his story. I was in Paris, I mean. It's really beautiful there, and I took a lot of photos. I nod, pretend to listen, and in my head, Too much about himself equals mistake number 5. He tries to joke. There's this one restaurant. You have to see it. Jake, I say with a smile, if a joke starts with you have to, it's almost always equals fail. He gets embarrassed but continues. Now he's trying compliments. You have beautiful eyes. I smile slightly. In my head, compliments instead of content equals 0. Thanks, I say, but it's more interesting when a guy can keep a conversation going. I can keep a conversation. He almost shouts, as if wanting to convince me by force. I laugh quietly. In my head, too cocky guy equals loss. We stop by a small fountain. He pulls out his phone again, this time a coffee meme. Jake, I say memes at every step equals success. Yeah, right. He giggles as if it's something smart. No, buddy, this is almost tragicomedy. Good, I say. What else do you have besides memes and compliments? He thinks, then decides to show a card trick on his phone. Like I can do magic. I watch as he twirls his phone, trying to impress. A small victory for me. Mistake 7, too direct, too obvious, trying too hard. Jake, I say, if your trick equals an attempt to impress me, it's already not interesting. He pauses, then says, well, I can tell an interesting story. I nod, in my head. Finally, a chance for creative equals chance. Great, I say. Go ahead. He starts telling a story about how he supposedly saved his friend in college. Every moment, too dramatic, too I'm the hero, too obvious for a first meeting. Jake, I interrupt. A story about saving a friend equals an attempt to be cool. Give me something really funny or unusual. He blushes, blinks, then tries to insert a meme again. No, Jake. Memes plus stories equals success, yeah. I think, smiling quietly. We keep walking. He makes another compliment attempt. You have an amazing smile. Thanks, I reply. But if you think that compensates for all the previous mistakes, then no. He blinks, takes a step closer equals red light. Jake, I say step closer equals red light, repeating just in case so he understands. He laughs quietly. I smile. Inside, thinking, good, let's see how many more mistakes you'll make. We continue walking through the park. Jake decides to switch to talking about music. Do you like music? He asks, as if it's his last chance for salvation. Yes, I reply. But it's not just about listening to music, but how people react to it. He blinks, then decides to talk about his favorite band. Every phrase sounds like an ad. Look how trendy and knowledgeable I am. Jake, I think, too much about himself equals mistake number 10. He notices I'm smiling and decides to go for jokes. I can play you a song on my phone, he says proudly. I nod, in my head. Equals attempt to impress, yeah. He plays a song, and I realize it's some popular hit that every other person has heard. Jake, I say, popular songs equals standard approach, not impressive. He gets a bit embarrassed, but doesn't give up. Now he's trying to compliment my style. You have an interesting style. I nod, smiling. In my head, compliments instead of content equals 0. Thanks, I say. But it's more interesting when a guy can keep a conversation, not just dish out compliments. He pauses, then decides to try something else cool. Pulls out his phone and shows another meme. Jake, I say memes plus attempt to be interesting equals success. Yeah, right. He's embarrassed, but tries to wriggle out. It's okay. Maybe I can come up with something funny right now. I nod, in my head. Good, let's see how real your creativity is. He starts telling a joke that's actually not funny. I laugh quietly. Jake, I say, attempt at a joke equals another mistake. He blushes, a small victory for me. I continue observing. Good, he says. What about your favorite places in the city? I explain that I like small alleys and hidden coffee shops where there are no tourists. He nods, as if jotting it all down in a notebook. Jake, I think step closer equals red light, memes plus jokes equals success, only for you it's still total fail. He tries to act like he understands, but his eyes show. He really doesn't. We stop by a bench. He sits next to me. Step closer equals red light. Jake, I say quietly, should I repeat? Step closer equals red light. He laughs awkwardly, and I smile. Inside, thinking, good, let's see how many more mistakes we can add. He decides to talk about his job. Every word like a presentation. Look how successful I am. Jake, I think too much about himself equals mistake number 15. He blushes, tries to change the topic to movies. Each attempt equals repetition of previous mistakes. Jake, I say step closer equals red light, phrases plus memes equals success, too cocky guy equals loss, cliché questions equals boredom. He goes silent, clearly starting to get tired. And I smile quietly because I realize almost all guys make the same mistakes, and observing this is like watching a TV show where each episode is funnier than the last. After the park walk, Jake unexpectedly suggests, maybe we can go somewhere for coffee. I nod, in my head. Step forward equals mistake number 20, because the guy thinks, I invited means I'm cool. We go into a small coffee shop on the corner. He sits across and tries to be witty again. You know, he starts, I can cook, I mean simple things. I smile, in my head. Too much about himself equals mistake number 21. He pulls out his phone and shows a coffee meme. Jake, I think memes plus phrases equals success. Yeah, right. He blushes but doesn't give up. Now he's trying a compliment. You have beautiful eyes. Thanks, I say. But if you think compliments compensate for all the previous mistakes, then no. He blinks, takes a step closer equals red light. Jake, I say quietly, I'll repeat just in case. Step closer equals red light. He laughs awkwardly and I realize tension is rising, a small victory for me. He decides to change tactics. You know, I can tell an interesting story. I nod, in my head. Finally a chance for something creative equals chance. He starts a story about college, where he supposedly saved a friend's life. Every word sounds like a commercial. Look what a hero I am. Jake, I interrupt story about saving equals attempt to be cool. He blushes, blinks, tries to insert another meme. Jake, I think memes plus stories equals success, only for you it's total fail. We continue sitting. He decides to talk about hobbies. Every word, again, an attempt to prove he's cool. Jake, I say in my thoughts, too much about himself equals mistake number 25. He blushes, takes a step closer equals red light. Jake, I say out loud, step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. Cliché questions equals boredom. Compliments instead of content equals 0. He goes silent, clearly tired. And I smile because I realize almost all guys make the same mistakes, and observing this is like watching a TV show with a comedic ending. He decides to play hero of the evening and suggests going outside where a street musician is playing guitar. Listen, he says, I can sing you a song. I nod, in my head. Attempt to impress equals next mistake. He sings, but off-key. I laugh quietly. Small victory number 3. Jake, I say, trying too hard equals mistake number 30. He blinks, and I see. He really doesn't understand he's doing everything backward. He tries to change the topic to movies. Every phrase, repetition of previous mistakes. Jake, I think step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. Cliché questions equals boredom. Compliments instead of content equals 0. Off-key song equals fail. He falls silent, clearly starting to realize something's wrong. I smile, inside thinking, good, let's see how many more mistakes we can add before it becomes a disaster. He tries to tell a joke that's not funny. I laugh quietly. Jake, I say joke attempt equals another mistake. He blushes, a small victory for me. Jake seems to have decided that if he takes one more step closer equals red light, it'll save the situation. Jake, I say quietly step closer equals red light, repeating just in case. He smiles awkwardly, and I realize tension is rising, and my internal mistake diary is just filling up. He starts, maybe I can show you something else. I nod in my head. Okay, let's see what now equals fail. He pulls out his phone and shows another meme. Jake, I think memes plus phrases equals success. Only for you it's total fail. He's embarrassed, but tries to wriggle out. It's okay. Maybe I can come up with something funny right now. I nod, in my head. Good, let's see how real your creativity is. He tells a joke about a bar where he was supposedly hero of the evening. I laugh quietly. Jake, I say joke attempt equals another mistake. He blushes, small victory number 4. He decides to switch to talking about travel. Have you ever been to Europe? He asks. I smile, in my head. Equals cliché phrase. He starts listing countries he's supposedly been to. Every word sounds like an ad. Look how cool and experienced I am. Jake, I think too much about himself equals mistake number 35. He takes a step closer, equals red light. Jake, I say out loud step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. Cliché questions equals boredom. Compliments instead of content equals 0. Off-key song equals fail. Jokes equals mistake. He goes silent, clearly starting to realize he's doing everything backward. I smile because I realize almost all guys make the same mistakes, and observing this is like watching a comedy TV show with a catastrophic climax. He makes an attempt to be creative and suggests, maybe I can show you a secret place in the city. I nod, in my head. Okay, let's see how secret place equals fail. He leads me through narrow alleys, trying to seem mysterious. Every move, an attempt to impress. Jake, I say, trying too hard equals mistake number 40. He blushes, takes a step closer equals red light. Jake, I say again, step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. He falls silent, clearly tired and a bit embarrassed. And I smile quietly. Almost all guys make the same mistakes, and observing this is pure pleasure. He decides to make a final move and suggests, maybe I can show you something special right now. I nod, in my head. Now it'll be the fatal mistake equals fail. He leads me to a small abandoned courtyard. Every move of Jake's, an attempt to be cool and mysterious. I observe and note all the mistakes. Step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. Cliché questions equals boredom. Compliments instead of content equals 0. Off-key song equals fail. Jokes equals mistake. Secret place attempt equals mistake number 40. He stops, smiles proudly, and waits for a reaction. I laugh quietly. Jake, I say almost all your attempts equals total fail. He blinks, really not understanding what happened. And that's when Emily decides to intervene. Listen, Jake. I say if you think memes, cliché phrases and confidence compensate for a complete lack of creativity, then no. He falls silent, complete quiet. But he tries to say something. I smile. Jake, I say step closer equals red light, phrases plus memes equals success, too cocky guy equals loss, and here's your fatal mistake equals end of game. He blushes, laughs quietly, and finally understands. Almost all guys make the same mistakes, and observing this is like watching a TV show where the finale equals a catastrophic comedic effect. Jake stands in front of me, all confident, but already noticeably embarrassed. He starts, maybe I could. I quietly interrupt. Jake, step closer equals red light, phrases plus memes equals success, too cocky guy equals loss. He blushes but tries to smile. But I thought it would work, he says quietly. I smile, internally thinking, buddy, almost all guys make the same mistakes, and your equals classic example. He decides to try to save the evening and suggests, maybe I can show you something else. I nod, in my head. Now it'll be the fatal mistake equals disaster. He leads me to a small alley where street lamps are glowing. Every move, an attempt to be cool and mysterious. I observe as he pulls out his phone, and I realize it's another meme. Jake, I think memes plus phrases equals success, only for you it's total fail. He's embarrassed but tries to wriggle out. It's okay, maybe I can come up with something funny right now. I nod, in my head. Okay, let's see how real your creativity is. He tells a joke that's actually not funny. I laugh quietly. Jake, I say joke attempt equals another mistake. He blushes, a small victory for me. And here's where something unexpected happens. Emily, he says quietly, I really wanted to impress. I look at him and think, maybe he's realizing for the first time that almost all guys make the same mistakes. He sits next to me, almost quietly. Step closer equals red light. Jake, I say, I'll repeat just in case. Step closer equals red light, phrases plus memes equals success, too cocky guy equals loss, cliché questions equals boredom, compliments instead of content equals zero, off-key song equals fail, jokes equals mistake. He goes silent, clearly tired and a bit down. And that's when I decide to add a wow moment. You know what, Jake? I say quietly with a slight smile, almost all guys make the same mistakes. But if you realize it and stop trying to be cool, step by step, maybe it'll work out. He looks at me in surprise. So, he starts, everything I did was a mistake. I nod, exactly, and that's okay. Inside, I smile. Wow, the moment is reached. He takes a step back, as if finally understanding. Step closer equals red light. Now he's cautious. Emily, he says quietly, thanks for showing me what's really important. I smile, internally rejoicing. Almost all guys make the same mistakes, but sometimes they need someone to gently show the way. We stand there in the alley, lamps illuminating our faces. And suddenly I realize, observing this is pure pleasure. Funny, weird, a bit awkward, but it's a real lesson for everyone. Jake takes a small step, this time without trying to impress. I smile, inside thinking, step closer equals right. And that's the moment I realize, almost all guys make the same mistakes. But if they're willing to listen and learn, everything can be different. We stand in the alley, lamps softly illuminating faces. Jake no longer tries to be cool or funny. Step closer equals cautious, without dramatic pauses and memes. Emily, he says quietly, I understand now that almost everything I did was a mistake. I smile, in my head. Wow, here's the realization moment. Jake, I say, almost all guys make the same mistakes. Step closer equals red light. Phrases plus memes equals success. Too cocky guy equals loss. He nods. Yes, he says, and I want to learn. I laugh internally. Observing all this has been like watching a TV show. Comedy, drama, and now a finale with a moral. You know, I continue mistakes are normal, but it's important to understand their mistakes and know how to fix them. He looks at me. Clearly, he's really listening. Emily, he says, thanks for not just laughing, but showing me what's really important. I smile. In my head, almost all guys make the same mistakes. But if they're willing to learn, step by step, everything can be different. We walk back through the park, Jake now cautious. Every phrase thought out, memes minimized, compliments honest, conversation lively. Emily, he says quietly, can I invite you for coffee again? I smile, internally rejoicing. Step closer equals right. Of course, I say, but without memes. He laughs. I do too. Inside, I think, wow, this moment when a guy really realizes mistakes and is ready to change, that's rare. We sit in the coffee shop, discussing books, movies, small city alleys. Jake no longer tries to impress. Every word sincere, every phrase alive. Emily, he says quietly, I never thought one date could teach so much. I smile. Jake, I say this isn't just one date. This is your lesson. And if you remember it step by step, everything will be different. Inside, I think, almost all guys make the same mistakes. But sometimes you need someone to gently show the way. He takes a small step closer equals neatly, without awkwardness. Emily, he says quietly, thanks. I smile, inside. Wow, the moment is reached. We laugh over little things, discuss memes, but now it's really funny. Jake no longer tries to impress, he just lives the moment. And that's when I realize, almost all guys make the same mistakes. But if they're willing to listen, observe, and change, everything can be different. Step closer equals cautious. Phrases plus memes equals moderate, confidence, honest, questions, lively, compliments, sincere. Jake finally understood that being yourself is way cooler than all the memes in the world. And at that moment, I think, wow, this really works. We leave the coffee shop, evening softly descending on the city. Our footsteps match. Step closer equals right. Emily, he says quietly, thanks for everything. I smile. In my head, almost all guys make the same mistakes. But today he learned, and that's the main wow moment.